and Lila. And of course, Virginia. Thanks for being there for the people of Kentucky once again. I am humbled to stand before you tonight to deliver my third State of the Commonwealth address. In many ways, this address feels both the toughest and also the most exciting. We come into this new year with excitement and optimism, with an economy booming like never before. But at the same time, we are all processing grief and sadness after a year of unprecedented natural disasters and a continuing pandemic. We are now just weeks from the deadliest tornado outbreak in state history, which took 77 lives, including one child just 6 days old. Entire towns were nearly wiped off the map, leaving thousands of our brothers and sisters homeless and struggling. All of this while we continue to fight a pandemic that has now taken more than 12,000 of our Kentucky family, neighbors, and friends, and more than 828,000 of our fellow Americans. But even through these trials and the pain that we carry from them, I am here to report that the state of our Commonwealth is strong. And I am confident, even certain, that our time, Kentucky's time, is now. Our Commonwealth is strong. It is strong because we are strong. In Kentucky, we are good people, tough people, resilient people. We care deeply for one another. And while they may knock us down, no tornado, no pandemic, no flood, no ice storm can break us, because we do not break. All of America, and indeed this entire world, has now seen exactly who we are. Neighbors who open our homes and our hearts to one another. People who embrace selflessness, generosity, and love. And while we are reminded, all at the same time we're reminded, that any arguments, any divisions just aren't that important. And not even the difficulties of our present can stop the excitement for our future. And good people deserve a good future. Folks, our time is here. Kentucky is no longer a flyover state. We are the destination. We are celebrating the greatest economic progress we've seen in our nearly 230-year state history, with the largest ever private sector investment, the most new jobs ever created, and at the second highest wages in state history, and we're just getting started. So we'll talk more about this exciting time, our time. But first, let's address our trials and our tragedies. 2021 was marked by the loss of far too many of our friends, family members, and neighbors. Everyone lost someone, maybe multiple someones over the last year. On top of another year of painful losses to the pandemic, 2021 was bookended by natural disasters with devastating storms and historic flooding in January and February, and then the deadly tornado outbreaks in December. After each of these disasters, I visited the communities that were suffering to see the damage myself and to listen to the stories of our families. I traveled to a warming center in Ashland during the ice storm, and I found a friend of mine sitting in the corner with his dad, whose dialysis machine was plugged into the wall. I watched as volunteers brought in meals, and a medical team from King's Daughter arrived and walked family to family to make sure everyone was okay. 1 month later, that same warming center was underwater as record flooding hit parts of eastern Kentucky. Days later, I went to Beattyville, which had been almost completely submerged. I listened to one of our county judges describe an amazing helicopter rescue by our National Guard. So let's take a moment to thank the National Guard for their heroic efforts this year. I am proud to be your Commander-in-Chief. Months after Beattyville, I was in Nicholas County. A historic flood had taken homes clear off their foundation, red X's painted on their doors as a painful symbol that people could not return to their homes. And then came December, with at least 5 tornadoes hitting on the same terrible night, one of which stayed on the ground, bringing death and destruction for over 200 straight miles. The stories of that night are tragic, but they're also heroic. I met a farmer in Taylor County who pulled multiple neighbors from their basements of their collapsed homes, clearing out just enough debris to pull them out. He told me one family called out, "Please, don't leave us." And he didn't. That man, Nevin Price, is here with us tonight with his wife, Sherry. Why don't y'all stand up so we can give you the applause that our heroes deserve. Jeremy Creason couldn't be with us tonight. Jeremy is the chief of the fire department in Mayfield. He was among the first on the scene after a tornado leveled a candle factory with dozens of workers inside. I remember talking to Jeremy, the mayor, the police chief, just after midnight on that most difficult night as they worked to save so many lives. So to all our first responders, the people of Kentucky, thank you. Nothing that I have ever witnessed prepared me for the level of destruction I saw in western Kentucky. One of the hardest hit places was my dad's hometown of Dawson Springs. This is a place I know, a place I love. This was always a safe place for me where my family sat on my grandparents' porch and sang hymns. Miraculously, that porch still stands, but 1 block away, everything is gone. 17 people from a town where bad things don't happen were lost. My faith teaches me that while we struggle to understand the whys of human suffering, we can see the presence of God in the response. Scripture tells us, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. We saw that in the actions of our people and in the outpouring of love and support from around the world. People from all over, many with little or no personal connection to Kentucky, have pledged millions of dollars to help recovery and have volunteered thousands of hours. Many others, including Lieutenant Governor Coleman, folks from the executive branch and LRC alike, rolled up their sleeves to give blood at drives like the one sponsored here at the Capitol. And when the First Lady started a toy drive, gifts poured in and piled up by the hundreds of thousands to make sure these kids who had been through so much could have a great Christmas. I know you're at home, but Brittany, I am so proud of you. And I was changed by your toy drive. Passing out those toys and visiting with those families, I had at least 2 special moments I want to share with you tonight. One was when I was joined by Coach Cal and Samaritan's Feet to hand out shoes. A young boy lit up as I pulled out the brightest, bluest pair of sneakers. He immediately asked if he could put them on right there, right then. We got them on him, and he jumped up and began running around, showing pure joy in a pair of shoes, just days after devastation. And then there was Kara McKnight, a special girl I met at the Christmas celebration at Pennyrile Park. It had been a tough month for her and for her family. She had lost her older brother Logan around Thanksgiving, and then she lost her house in the tornado. My daughter Lila and I volunteered to be Kara's personal shoppers, and we started handing her more board games and toys. And when her hands were full, I started loading Lila up with more, just for Kara. And that's when it happened. She began to laugh. An amazing, special laugh I will always remember. A laugh, your laugh, that reminded me that even in the darkness there is wonderful, pure, joyful light. Kara, her brother Jet, and her parents Ashley and Jason are with us tonight, and I know Logan is here with us too. Thank you to Kara and her entire family for their strength and for your goodness. The courage and the compassion that Americans have shown for one another during our plight fills me with pride at being your governor and fills me with certainty that we as Team Kentucky have what it takes to meet this challenge. We are committed to being there for those that lost everything in these tornadoes. I appreciate President Biden's support for our people during this disaster. He granted my request that the federal government pay for the entire cost of the first 30 days of cleanup. That is a huge help, and I've requested an extension because there is so much more that needs to be done. As part of that effort, I'm working with House and Senate members on fast-track legislation to help our impacted families. This legislation directs $150 million to help our communities rebuild. Another $50 million would go to the region schools to help them recover and to get ready to provide the best education for the kids there. It provides additional tools to bring and keep jobs in these communities. And it shows that we, Democrats and Republicans, House and Senate, executive and legislative branches, will stand with these families. We will. So I want every family and community touched by these storms to know that I am with you. The General Assembly is with you. The Commonwealth of Kentucky is with you. Today, tomorrow, however long it takes, we will rebuild every structure and every life. Now, we cannot talk about the state of our Commonwealth without addressing the ongoing COVID pandemic. As I noted earlier, we've lost more than 12,000 of our fellow Kentuckians to this evil virus. The nationwide death toll has surpassed 828,000. Those are 828,000 children of God missed and mourned by the communities and those who love them. And right now, we are seeing a severe, unprecedented escalation of cases due to a new variant we must take seriously. In fact, at nearly 10,000 new cases, today is the most new cases we have had in any single day in the pandemic. Yet, even with these concerns, I remain convinced that we can and we will beat COVID. Because in 2021, we gained the tools and the knowledge we needed for victory. And in a point of pride we should all share, Kentucky and our people continued to take a leading role in this worldwide battle. In late December 2020, I visited U of L Health as the very first COVID vaccines arrived, delivered by one of our very own UPS employees. Later, I visited UPS Worldport. The workers there, proud Kentuckians and maybe a few misguided Hoosiers, continue to ensure these life-saving shots of hope reach people here, throughout America, and around the globe. The testing and vaccine protocols developed here in the Commonwealth with the help of partners like Kroger and Gravity Diagnostics have gone on to become national models. Think about it. In a little more than a year, we built the most robust testing and vaccination networks in human history. It was called the greatest logistics challenge since World War II, and we got it done. In just over a year, we vaccinated over 62% of every man, woman, and child in the Commonwealth, something that's never, ever been done before. And right now, people can drive or even walk to multiple locations where they can receive free of charge COVID testing or a vaccination or a booster. Get your booster. We still need many more of our people to choose to get vaccinated and boosted. But we can and should take pride that our vaccination rate has consistently been in the top 3 of our region, and now nearly 75% of all Kentuckians 18 and older have received at least their first shot of hope. My administration's COVID response has and will always be about saving lives. Not what is easy, not what is popular, but what is necessary and what is right. That's why we were one of the very first states to prioritize vaccinations for our educators. It's how Kentucky was one of the first states to return to in-person instruction in every single school district. The rest of the nation later adopted our approach. And as our kids went back to in-person learning, they had the support of the First Lady's coverings for kids. That ensured that students across the Commonwealth had a mask to wear to protect them as they learned. Individuals and businesses, including Ford Motor Company and Humana, donated more than 2.4 million masks. Folks, COVID is our Spanish flu. It is our plague. But we are strong enough to defeat it no matter how long it takes. Yes, in 2021, we faced a one in every 100-year pandemic. That's the challenge of our lifetime. On top of that, we've dealt with flooding, ice storms, and deadly tornadoes. Still, we never took our eye off the ball and worked every day to build a better future for my kids and yours. Along the way, we shattered every economic development record in the books. We attracted $11.2 billion in private sector investment. Even better, these investments will create more than 18,000 quality jobs in each and every one of your districts. And how about this one? In September, we landed the largest single investment this state has ever seen at nearly $6 billion and 5,000 new jobs. Ford Motor Company and its partner SK Innovation are going to build the nation's largest electric battery plants right here in Kentucky. Bill Ford is Ford's executive chair. He's also Henry Ford's great-grandson. He sat in my office and he said, "Andy, this is the biggest step in the auto industry since the Model T. And this is Ford's biggest investment in its history that they had ever made, and that they were making it in Kentucky." That's when it hit me. Ford Motor Company, a company as American as America itself, was betting its future. And who did Ford trust to bet its entire future on? The people of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. That ought to make you pretty proud. And it's not just Ford. Pratt Industries is making its largest investment ever, $500 million in Henderson. That is the largest project in Western Kentucky in 25 years. Toyota continues to believe in us, investing over $460 million in electric vehicles and adding 1,400 direct full-time jobs. GE Appliances is expanding in Louisville, showing that U.S. manufacturing is back. In October, they announced a $450 million investment that's going to create 1,000 jobs. Amazon operationalized its new $1.5 billion air hub, creating 2,000 new jobs in northern Kentucky. Alstrom Monks Joe located a second facility in Madisonville, pouring in $70 million, creating more than 50 good-paying jobs. And Fidelity Investments in Covington, which was already one of northern Kentucky's largest employers, announced 600 new professional jobs this summer. These are world-class companies choosing us. Some of the most sophisticated corporations on the planet betting their future on Kentucky. These are the jobs of the future, and they are coming to every part of our state. We are leading. Kentucky is leading on electric vehicles. Ford and Toyota's investments were joined by Firestone Industrial Products, creating 250 new jobs in Whitley County. We, Kentucky, are leading in agri-tech, with App Harvest announcing 4 expansions in Moorhead, Somerset, Berea, and Richmond. Appalachia, who's growing apples on abandoned coal mine property, is expected to create 2,000 new full-time jobs in Inez. Appalachia's own Bernie Kosar, Super Bowl and national champion quarterback, is here with us tonight. Stand up, Bernie, so we can thank you for all the work y'all are doing at Appalachia. Along with them, Fresh Harvest continues to grow in Stanford, and EnviroFlight is thriving in Maysville. Other high-tech companies made great strides, including Ragent in Moorhead, which expanded its mesh telecommunications system, and Novellus, which opened its first new facility since 1982, investing over $300 million in Todd County. Kentucky was already the leader, the worldwide leader, in bourbon production. But in 2021, we saw the industry continue to expand, both in production and tourism. We welcome revivals like the Dant family and Log Still. We celebrated exciting new players like Horse Soldier Bourbon in Somerset. These folks are the real deal, real American heroes who chose us. They're investing hundreds of millions of dollars in Southern Kentucky to build something really special. We also applauded as stalwarts like Four Roses and Heaven Hill cut ribbons on expanded visitor centers. And I must say, a very personal and special thank you to Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo, who I personally worked with to remove harmful bourbon tariffs and ensure a bright future for our signature industry. So as you can see, the incredible economic leaps that we're taking aren't just confined to a few counties or a few cities. And my pledge is that everyone will share in the coming prosperity, especially those in the regions or in the neighborhoods that are far too often left out. Let me give you one of my favorite examples. A month and a half ago, I returned to Beattyville, this time not for a natural disaster, thank goodness, but to welcome Lion First Responder back to the community. Lion, which had reopened its PPE manufacturing in the community, did so in the same building the company left in 2010. What I saw that day was not just hope, it was progress, and it was a step towards prosperity. So here with us tonight, representing Lion, are Diane Best and Patty Barker. Let's thank them for investing in our Kentucky communities. And we're also thankful for what you do, because those Mayfield firefighters out on that difficult night were protected by your products. So again, thank you for protecting our first responders. So after a record year, one where we won, and we won, and we won some more, where do we go? The answer should be simple: forward. With all that we've experienced this year, we should be over the fighting, over the bickering, over the games. After this year, I'm convinced that our role in government is not to move a state right or left, but to move it forward. So this year, and in this session, we have a duty and a responsibility to make the investments that can turn 2 years of great progress into 20 years of real prosperity. In a little over a week, I will join you again to unveil a budget that does just that. Now, I believe that a budget is more than lines and numbers, it is a value statement. And my upcoming budget will reflect our Kentucky values of family, faith, community, and a deep compassion for our neighbors. That budget will make historic investments in education, as world-class companies deserve a world-class workforce. It'll create a fund for investing in development sites so we can attract the next Ford and Toyota. It'll invest in our essential workers, like our Kentucky State Police, our nurses, our teachers, to ensure we can not only recruit, but retain these critical jobs. It'll ensure that we remain a leader in agriculture technology in Eastern Kentucky, and that we build on our pharmaceutical footprint in Northern Kentucky. It'll continue to deliver on the promise of a world-class airport in Paducah. It'll continue to invest in infrastructure with more water and sewer grants. It will continue to expand the Mountain Parkway to 4 lanes, and it'll work to construct that I-69 bridge. It'll move us ever closer to the announcement, which I hope and expect that we will make next year, that we will construct a Brent Spence companion bridge without tolls. And it will include a raise for all of our state workers. We simply cannot say that we respect and support our teachers, social workers, and other state workers while removing their pensions and not providing them a raise in over a decade. And I care about each and every one of them enough to try to get them closer to paying them what they're worth. Folks, our time is here, and our future is now. But for us to achieve our destiny, we have to embrace it, and we got to work for it. President Abraham Lincoln, a hero to this state and to this country, said it best: you cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading it today. It's another way of saying this is our responsibility, our chance, and not the time to pass the buck. So as representatives of the people of Kentucky, we are called at this crucial moment to accept our great responsibility, maybe even our historic responsibility, to lead. I know we can agree to work together to rebuild and recover. I know that we can take the bold actions needed to move forward. Because if we choose wisely, maybe, if we choose kindly, then we can look back decades from now and say, this was the moment. This was the moment that made all the difference. After standing in what used to be downtown Mayfield, and after walking through what used to be Dawson Springs, after seeing the devastation of Bremen, I think we should all be changed people. So let's spend this legislative session focused on bettering the lives of our people. Let's focus on restoring and rebuilding lives and buildings in Western Kentucky. Let's focus on reducing the number of children or seniors who go to bed hungry every night. Let's focus on bringing healing and recovery to those struggling with opioid and other addiction issues. Let's focus on making sure our kids are getting the very best education. Let's work together to support our workforce to fill the jobs coming our way. And let's make sure that this incredible economic momentum reaches every corner of the Commonwealth and every neighborhood in all of our cities. And let's not devolve into anger, division, bitterness, or hate ever again. We've been called to be better people, and we should be. Scripture further guides us. Let us not become weary of doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. We are too strong to give up. We must go forward. Our time is here. Our future is now. God bless you. God bless the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Thank you very much.